Okay, sir. So we are good to go now. So
Okay.
hello and welcome to all in today's online alumni entrepreneurship talk. Today our guests are Mr. Debajyoti Mondal and Mr. Kabiraj Samrat. Mr. Mondal and Mr. Samrat both are distinguished alumni of our institution from the Department of Chemical Engineering and Electronics and Communication Engineering respectively. Mr. Mondal has illustrated experience in the Adani Group and also has been the Vice President of Five Star Group. On the other hand, Mr. Samrat has been a former area manager at Asian Paints and general manager at Excite. Both of them are founders of Talentroopers, an tech startup that aims at helping college students in their placements and also school students in extracurricular activities. Sir, I, on the behalf of SAI Cell, are truly delighted to have you as our guests today. And without any further delay, I would request both of you to take over the session as we can't wait to hear from you.
Well, thank you, Somadeep, and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back and interacting with our alma mater because, as you are aware already, we are ex-students of NIT Durgapur. So just to give a brief background, I'm not sure how many of you would still find interest in the sessions in this, lovely Saturday evening. Being weekend, but then I think we've got more than 20 of you here. So thanks a lot for having us. And just quickly a brief background: when I joined NIT Durgapur back in 2002, a transition was going on. Actually, it was at that time RE College Durgapur and was still under Burdwan University. So my first year mark sheets are still from Burdwan University. Second year onwards, when we entered the discipline, the actual field of engineering, for me it was chemical engineering. So it became NIT. So second year onwards, it was a deemed university for us. I think rest everything has remained same as we were interacting briefly. So I am from chemical engineering batch, 2006 pass out, long back. And we have been visiting our college every now and then. Last we visited Samrat, I guess, was around 3-4 months back, I guess, 4-5 months back. Yeah. So some of the professors, they still like us, love us. So yeah, keep interacting with them. So thanks a lot, and today we'll have a lovely session interacting with you as well. So after NIT, I was working with Hindustan Petroleum for 3 years in Mumbai refinery. And then went on to do my MBA from IIM Lucknow. We both are from IIM Lucknow, 25th batch of IIM Lucknow, 2011 pass out. And from Lucknow, I got placed with Adani Group, and I've worked with Adani Group for almost 12 years in different companies in different roles. Then briefly with Five Star Logistics, but then we both started Talentroopers, the tech platform, which we'll discuss in detail a bit later. Yeah, Samrat.
Yeah, so good evening everyone, and I think on a personal basis, I think Shomadip has covered a lot. Mr. Mondal has also added. So first of all, thanks for having us here, and it's a privilege to address all of you. And the best thing I like about is when I got to know we have now entrepreneurship cell. I think that's what you call it, correct? So that's a great thing to have in the college. These things are happening. Obviously, as time passes, a lot of changes comes in. And as Mr. Debajyoti was talking about, in our time, the change was, from REC to NIT. So I was one batch junior to him. So I was the first batch of NIT in that sense. And our time, that was the transition. Okay, that, we are becoming from REC to NIT. And now probably the transition is about getting more into entrepreneurship and AIs. So times have changed a lot. So talking about my background, I think you have covered a lot. So I have 11 years of. So okay, if I talk about the sequence, after NIT, I went to CTS, was there for 2 years, and then went to IIM Lucknow. In IIM Lucknow, we were batchmate, me and Mr. Debajyoti, and then after that, I have 11 years of experience in sales, largely with Asian Paints, 9 years, 2 years with Excite, and then we started Talentrooper. So Talentrooper we started last year. And so that about me, I think, in terms of the introduction. Talking about Talent Trooper, so what we do in Talent Trooper, largely we are, if you put it in one line, we are largely in the space of mentoring and skill building. Okay, now that's a very wide space. If I talk about mentorship and skill building, so let me break it down. So right now we are into two particular segments. One is the B2B segment, where we partner with the colleges, institutions, and we help them to prepare the student for the placement processes. So that is the large chunk of our startup where we work. So we are in partnership with many colleges in Kolkata. Right now, we are largely within Bengal, and within Bengal largely into Calcutta and suburbs. So we have partnered with many such colleges, and we are working with them in terms of preparing the student for campus and whatever process help they require. That is one segment we work, and second segment is uh, B2C. So I hope by now that these lingos are clear: B2B and B2C. So B2B is business to business, and B2C is business to customer. So in my time, if you have asked me, I would have no idea. So B2C, where in the B2C segment, we are working with school students, where we work on developing their soft skills and communication skills. And so that's our program. And that business is largely on internet. And the B2B business, obviously, it happens at the campus, on the virtual mode, in both the modes. So that's what we do in nutshell. And probably we'll talk a little bit in detail also, when we talk about this session today. So let's begin the session now with this introduction about us and about Talent Trooper. We'll keep it informal for few of the reason. One is it's a Saturday evening, first of all. And second is when NIT, the same college people are talking to each other, there should not be any formality. So let's keep it informal. Okay, let's begin.
Yeah, I think thanks, Samrat. So we will start with with one question, for all of you guys, and don't take it as any interview question. So we are all wearing informal attire today, so let it be very, very informal. We just want to interact with you. How many of you, given a chance, let's say top corporates are visiting your campus every year. I'm sure you're getting placed, getting good jobs. But let's say startups also start visiting, or maybe already visiting. How many of you would prefer a startup over an established or matured corporate? Just raise your hand. We are not going to interview you. This is just a discussion. We want to understand your psyche, and then we will take the discussion forward from there. So let's say there are good corporates, I don't want to take any names. And then there are startups visiting your campus for offering placements. How many of you, or would any one of you actually opt for a startup in terms of jobs? Just be very, very honest. Be very honest. If not, then no. But that also should be an answer. No should also be an answer. Yes or no?
You can respond by any means, guys. Raise your hand physically, or now you have that raising hand symbol. You can do whichever.
Yeah. Okay, so anybody would prefer a startup over a matured, let's say, established corporate? Is there anyone in this group? Let's see. Anyone? No? Okay, so can we safely assume that none of you would prefer a startup?
Somebody has raised, I think, or I'm wrong.
Oh, no, I think somebody has joined. So yeah, so we can safely assume that none of you, I think we've got almost 30 people over here, none of you would actually prefer joining a startup at the starting point of your career. If you are given a chance, you would not prefer a startup over a mature established corporate. Okay, that's this hypothesis we were testing. So we have tested this hypothesis now. Okay. All of you on the same page, right? Or anybody has a difference of opinion here?
Yeah, joining startup at early age of career is great, because in early life we can take risk actually, and in the startup we can work on a lot of domains, so it will be really helpful for our future also. But
Great.
most of the people prefer to have a stable job. That's why they prefer to work under a big company actually.
Absolutely, Somik. Thanks a lot for answering. So yes, you are right in a sense that startups may be offering something which would be good for you at the start of your career. But then the bottom line is we all want stability and a level of certainty, which may be there is a perception that startups may not be offering that. So that's what drives our psyche actually when we are looking for jobs initially in your career. uh, then my follow-up question would be, why so many startups are coming up? Just want to have a discussion with you guys, so don't hesitate to actually contribute to this discussion.
Yeah, you
Obviously,
guys can be absolutely open. Whatever you want to contribute, please contribute.
so why is that so many startups are coming up nowadays? What's going on actually? If young blood would not prefer to join startups over matured established corporates, um, there's lack of certainty, or maybe why there are so many startups getting created and they're coming up.
Yeah,
And
most of the product based companies take time to execute any idea, and the startups work on one specific idea to achieve their goal, and they all remain consistent to it only. So it helps actually in achieving their goal.
right. So yeah, so definitely there is a goal, there is a plan, and matured corporates also didn't happen overnight. They have pursued that plan, that goal for ages, maybe sometimes 25 years, 30 years, 35 years, and then they reached to a point. So some of these startups would definitely reach to that point maybe 10 years, 12 years, or 20 years later, who knows. But yeah, there is actually in India right now, there is a great environment actually, and also lot of government support for startups right now. But then there are different steps that we need to follow. So the topic for today is the steps and the challenges you might face when you want to launch your startup. So we'll delve deeper into that. The environment is one that gives you a platform, or gives you a mental boost. But then there are other factors that you need to follow if you have to get it right or set it up for success. So those are the things. We may not be a master at that, but then whatever we have learned from our experience of the past 1.5 years, we'll share with you, right? So the steps and challenges and a few other aspects also. So let's delve deeper into this. We'll start with the steps of creating a startup. Yeah.
Great. So let's start. So what we do is to give you an overview. We will have a very candid discussion, and we are very open that the more you can contribute to it. So first of all, we don't have any PPT, so don't feel that there's a lot of slides, PPTs. No, we have purposefully kept it in a dialogue mode so that we can share as much as we have learned. That is one. Second is whatever we are going to share, believe us, it is from our experience. This is not a probably bookish or the definitions or steps of a startup. Not like that. It's what we have learned in this 10 months, 11 months of our journey, and probably the point or the intent of our sharing is, if any one of you plans to start a startup, probably it may guide you. Okay, these are definitely, we are not saying that these are the 10 steps that you follow and then you can open a successful startup. We are not saying that. We are saying that this is what can definitely guide you if you plan to open a startup, and this can guide you to propel faster. You need not discover the wheels again. Okay, so with that we'll start. So steps of starting a startup, I think obviously the first step, if we talk about, is the idea. I think that goes without saying, correct, that we need to have an idea. But believe me, when we were thinking, individually, what are the idea that I can start, or what are the ideas that Mr. Debajyoti can start. Even when we are thinking in a combined manner, there are a lot of ideas that will cross your mind, because we are individual, we are human beings, and everybody has different passion, different interest, different hobby. So there are a lot of ideas that can cross your mind. Every morning you can feel ये भी कर सकते हैं, अरे ये तो बहुत अच्छा है, nobody has thought about it, this we can do, this we can do. But believe me, the first filter you have to put, so we are not telling you that what to choose, obviously that depends on you. But whenever there is an idea, always keep in mind eventually you are going to start a startup, you're not going to start a hobby. So that should be very, very clear in your mind. Okay. And when I say startup, largely your idea should have two components. One is your passion, right? You should be passionate about what you're going to start about. And second is, it should have the ability to make money, monetization. These are the two key ingredients that requires, passion and the ability to monetize. If it misses any one of them, believe me that after some time you will start losing interest. If your idea is full of passion, say anything, you love cooking and you want a restaurant, but then if you're not able to make money out of that, then as a startup, slowly that idea may die. Okay. And if you have an idea where you can brilliantly make money, but you don't get any kick out of it, slowly you'll get bored out of it. So your idea should have passion and the ability to monetization. Now whenever you get any idea, a lot of ideas in your head, you always find the what is the proportion of passion and this money making ability that idea has. So if you have 10 ideas, jot it down and go through that point. Wherever you find no, it's not balanced, it has a lot of passion, no money making, it has a lot of money making, no passion, I think those ideas are there to trim off. You always go for the idea where you can do both the things. So in short, I'll say that is one of the strong thing to choose an idea. And if you are doing it with some partner or group of people, 2 people, 3 people, then it should be equal for everybody. I mean, all the 3 people should see the passion out of it, to get the passion out of it, and should be, and the entire idea should be able to make money for all of you, all of the group. So I feel that is one of the core thing, whenever you're choosing an idea. And believe me, many a time there is a human bias that takes over. We feel that passion hai to paisa baad mein bana lenge, we'll make money later, but this is my passion. Usually that does not happen. I'm not saying that following any passion is not a great idea, but then it largely remains a hobby. So we cannot mix hobby and startup in that fashion. So these are the one of the first step and one of the bigger step where the filter happens of successful startup and probably not so successful startup. Correct. So that would be my first point. Anything you want to add, or we'll continue?
Yeah, no, I think we'll continue and then we'll sum it up.
Okay. So that's the first point. Second point, I would say that whenever you feel that you have chosen an idea, you have chosen an idea in whichever field, let it be a core brick and mortar business, or it's an internet business, it's an education business, it's a quick service restaurant, sports, anything you have chosen idea, then I strongly recommend that you go you go and speak to people who are already in that field. I think even before you start any pilot, any market research, or you do anything, go and speak to the people who are already in that field. So many times you'll get few people in and around your alumni, or some of your relatives, or somebody or somebody in your colony, somebody in your society. So go and try to talk to them. Okay, obviously it's not very easy that you go and talk to a stranger, but then obviously if you say that I want to understand a few bit, he or she will discuss with you. But the point is, try to talk with few people, try to gain some insight by speaking. Okay, and if the case is you do not have anyone, then try to read. And now the reading source could be anything. Now the easiest and the fastest method is internet. Try to read about something where you are trying to get into. Okay, and see. So the net goal, what is the net goal? Net goal is to see the journey. What is the journey from there? It's not about to get some tricks. It's not to get about some differentiating factor, some money making skills. No, you see what is the journey from there. So for example, if somebody wants to be cricketer, very easy example, somebody wants to be cricketer, please, a professional cricketer, please show the kid what is the journey of a cricketer. Okay, because what the kid sees is a match on a TV, but show him what is the actual journey, what happens to cricketer, how the selection happens, how much practice he needs to do, how much practice, what is the chance of success, and everything. You see the journey, the ups and down and everything, you just like a movie. And if you watch that, then you actually see the game you are going to play. Because anytime any game we choose, we always try to see na ki movie ka review kya hai before watching that movie. I'm going to spend $300, I'm going to spend my Saturday evening on it or Sunday evening on it. उससे पहले एक बार मूवी का रिव्यू हम ले लेते हैं. It's a 5-star movie, it's a good movie, good reviews, let's go for it. 1-star movie, review गंदा है, we'll not go for it. But usually, nowadays we do not go to see a movie without review. Usually, movie lovers will go for it, but usually somebody for whom 500 rupees makes sense, makes a lot of meaning, for 3 hours makes a lot of meaning, he will try to get a review. So my point is, always try to get a review. Review not in the sense ki, kitna paisa main bana lunga, no, but what is the journey I'm going to make there. Okay. Third, I'll go ahead. I know if you have some question, we'll take it a little later. So the third part is, there is something called as value chain. I'm not sure whether you have studied about it or not. Obviously, this is the concept of value chain. The moment there is something which starts and till it goes to the customer, everybody adds value to it. Correct? That's the value chain in a very crude language. For example, potato chips. Kisan produces potato and it goes to mandi say it goes to factory में wash करके cut करके you fry and then it goes for packaging, go to the distributor, wholesaler, retailer, and to the customer. Everybody is doing some value addition to it, and the complete part is the value chain. So third most important thing is try to envisage the value chain. Whatever idea you want to start, see the value chain. Who is starting it, and finally who is the consumer. What is the entire value chain, and in that value chain, what is the value you are adding? Now that is the most important part. Okay, so what is the value you are adding? Now that value could be small, that value could be big. You could be packaging that chips, or you could be adding salt to that chips, or you could be the retailer who is making it available to the customer. Okay, but what is the value you are adding to that entire product? Now, when you do that, you will understand, whether the value you are adding, is it, very different that nobody else can add, or is it something anybody can add? Now that's where you will see all this differentiator. I mean, if you put it in a very difficult definition, बहुत बड़ा definition बन सकता है, but then I will say that is the differentiating factor between anything. So if there is something, say Shomodeep is trying to build, and the value he's trying to add, anybody in the campus can add, then I would say, very soon your product may get copied, and somebody who is doing it better than you can achieve better result. But on the other hand, if there is something Shomodeep is trying to create, where the value he is adding into that system, nobody else in the campus can add, or very few people in the campus can add, then believe me, even if somebody is executing it much better, but the chances are that very few people will be able to copy it first. Second, very few people will be able to repeat it. So that's about the value addition part. So that's what you have to do. Okay, just taking an example of our idea. So we feel the content that we create, the value addition we do to the student while preparing for a campus, we feel that is something usually you won't get in a market. We are not saying that we are the best, but we say that because the content we have created, this is from our experience of being in a recruiting panel in the corporates, and also being a student when we were a student. So that is our differentiating factor that we feel in our startup. Similarly, you should have a differentiating factor, a value addition factor. Okay. Also, the value addition, you always see the last core point. I would say that in the entire value addition, whatever you are doing, are you in the entire startup, whatever you are doing, are you the core player in that game if you're making anything, or you are just a manager? That is a very, very important. For example, if you are going to start a restaurant, say, no, I have a passion for food, I want to start a restaurant. So am I somebody who is going to help in preparing the food, or creating that ambience and experience for the customer, or I am somebody who is just going to put in money and going to manage the entire show? Okay, now there is a huge difference. I'm not saying, obviously, when you become a big businessman, you manage the show, but when you start, you have to be the player. You have to be the guy who can actually operate the entire restaurant by himself. You should be capability to learn, know about food, taste, whatever whatnot is there about all those things. You should be able to do that. You should not be somebody who's dependent on a chef, dependent on a floor manager, dependent on a waiters who serve food, and you're just managing the entire show, and you're just putting in money. No, if you do that as a startup, I think it is very difficult to actually make it a great startup or great idea. Yes, you are somebody who has played that game, in and out. Later on, you want to take a step back, and you want to build the team, and you want to create the entire thing. I think that's fine. But initially, you have to be the core player. You have to be the playing captain. You cannot be the coach in the beginning. Okay, who can be the coach? The people with whom you talk. In the beginning, I told you, go and talk to people, try to see their vision. Try to get a mentor. If you get a mentor, very good. But in the beginning, you cannot be your coach of your startup. You have to be the player of your startup. So these are the 4 or 5 points, typically which comes in the top of my mind. Mr. Debajyoti, if you have to add few, then I have 1 or 2 points I'll add again.
Yeah, I think these are the core points briefly, and slightly on a different note. If you ask us what are the technically what are the steps, so obviously these are the most important steps. But then you should have a business plan ready with you. That's first and foremost thing that you need to do. Idea, and then how you're going to implement that idea, and what will be the cash flow, etc., etc. So the entire business plan, which markets you're going to target, where from you will generate revenue. So you should have at least, I would say, 6 months to 1 year, a plan ready with you. I'm not saying that you will be able to actually achieve that plan. You may not be able to, but then unless you have a plan, things will go haywire. You have to sit every now and then, and you have to do your analysis, like actually what has happened and what you had planned, and then do some course correction accordingly and move on. So plan, and then actual thing that's happening on the ground, these will be very different, but then still you need to have a plan in place. So we call that as a business plan. Because when you are going to explain somebody what it is about, you need to actually have that business plan ready with you in your mind, what you are going to achieve from this startup. So yeah, that's a document that you need to develop. And then of course, Samrat mentioned that you need to do a lot of survey. You need to have a mentor. You need to talk to people who know stuff as to how your journey in the startup is going to happen. That's for sure. But then also in-depth analysis and data collection and survey you will have to do. And the nature of the survey will obviously vary depending on which field you are entering into. But then without market survey, you cannot take a plunge. You cannot. There are high chances that you might go wrong without a proper market survey. Not saying that you go with a very big company for doing this market survey. You can do it on your own. You can have 3 or 4 guys along with you to do that survey on your own. Not an issue. But then still you have to tire your legs, you have to dirty your hands, and you have to do those market surveys. You cannot sit at home in cabins or cubicles and start a startup. It won't happen. You have to be on the ground. You have to tire your legs, dirty your hands, run around. And then only you will know a lot of challenges that are going to come up and you will face in due course. So we'll talk about some of those challenges. But then, yeah, these are a few business plans, surveys, having a coach. Of course, in that value chain, what exactly are you addressing? What problem are you solving in that value chain? All these things you need to have in your steps for startup. Yeah,
I'll just add, yeah, I'll just add, a few more points. So, obviously, looking at the technicality, obviously, it cannot be just you get a mentor and get the value addition. Obviously, technically, needs to have a business plan as we are talking about. That's so definite. And there are three, four more points which I'll add in terms of being, if you go clinical, technical steps. One is survey, and second is you must do a pilot, and the pilot should be able to make money for you. Okay, you do a survey and then do a pilot means you do in a very small space, for a small group of people. But wherever you do it, that pilot should be able to make money for you. So always keep in mind, the moment you are into a startup, making money should be 50% of your brain. Half of your brain should be working for making money, and the remaining half should be about customer satisfaction and the product and everything. Correct? Because that is very, very important, because your business runs till the point it is making money. Okay, your business is valued by others till the point it is making money. You can make it big only if you are making money. I'm not saying if you're making profits, that's a different thing. I'm saying if you're able to generate money. Okay, so first step is, clinical and technical steps. You do a survey, you do a pilot, and the pilot should be able to make money. It's okay if you're in pilot, you're not making profits, but there should be people who are ready to pay for whatever product you have, and that should be the acid test of the pilot. Two more things about these steps. Always go for your customer flow first. Okay, because nowadays there is a lot of talk about, I have heard this term, we have heard this term called as valuation. Okay, there is this valuation and all that. From our experience, we always say that go for your customer flow first. Okay, whatever is your product, whatever is your service, you should have customer ready to pay for it. Okay, you should have those customer 100, 150, only 50, only 60, but you should have customer in the initial pilot. Okay, if you have customer, and then you should bother about revenues, that you are able to make revenues from those customer. You also call it cash flow. You are able to make cash flow out of that business. And once you have these two, then you bother about profit. So again, I'm repeating, first you see if you have a flow of customers, regular flow of customer. That customer can be in two parts, new customer and a repeat customer. Both are important. If you are not able to make a repeat customer, there is some flaw. If you are not able to make new customer, then there is a flaw. So your product testing is done if you're able to make a continuous flow of new customer and repeat customers. That test your product, who are paying you money. Second, obviously, you are able to generate cash from those customers. Third step is, now you talk about profit and everything, that you are able to make profit, margins and all that. Believe me, profit, margin and all those things, people like you, using your brains, you can make it. But getting a customer, getting a customer who is able to pay and getting that flow continuously is the toughest thing to do in the entire game. And if you're able to get all these things correctly, customer, flow of customer, revenue and profit, the valuation will be automatically given to you by the market. Valuation is not something you should run for. Valuation is something which will be generated by these three things: flow of customer, revenue and profits. So I don't remember any time we have even have uttered the word valuation in our discussion, because we feel that is something that comes to you as a result of something. Okay, so if you're starting new, go for the pilot, make your pilot profit able to monetize, then these three steps you do, and go for unit economics. The first unit you put, it should be able to make money. If that unit is able to make money, then you go for scale up. Scale up is a different problem. How do you scale up? Then you create a team, then you raise funds and all that. But till you are able to make your first unit profitable, believe me, your game is at point number one. So till you do that, then all this scaling up, team building, raising money, all that happens. And regarding raising money, I'll at this point and close this steps of startup section. Whenever you raise money from any investor, always remember that the investor is investing probably 1% of his fund, at max 1.5% of his fund max. Okay, so his actual interest in your business will be of that sort, 1.5%. But you are spending your 100% of your time and 100% of your whatever resources you're putting in. So it is always a, it's never a balanced game. What the startup means for you and what the startup means for the investor is very different. Your 100%, the investor's 1%. Okay, so always choose wisely. I'm not saying you take money, go for funding. No, don't go for funding. But you should always remember the game, that what is his actual interest, what is your actual stake into it. Yeah, so that's all from me in terms of steps of starting a startup.
Yeah, great. So, what, we'll briefly cover some of the challenges and then probably we'll take a few questions. Will that be all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so we heard about different steps of starting the startup. Now, let me delve deeper into the challenges. Obviously, as you all, could see from the response of my first question, startups, the perception of startup is not that great. It's not easy to actually start a startup and make it successful as well. So what are those challenges? Actually, the first challenge is for the people who are starting up, actually, and that's a mental block. The first challenge will be to stay motivated every day during your journey. To stay motivated every day, there will be sleepless nights, there will be worrisome days, you won't be able to rest in peace. Absolutely, there'll be so much trouble for you. One day will be fine, you will get some prospects that, oh, okay, things are going very well for us, so you will feel elated. The next day things will go like this, downhill for you, and you will feel so frustrated. So you have to be in love with your startup to stay motivated all the time. Most important is you have to see the big picture. You cannot have a very myopic vision that I am seeing, oh, by next 1 month or 2 months or 3 months we'll be able to do nothing. I mean, we will not be successful at all in next 3 months. No, startup is not a short-term game. It's not a game of football where in 90 minutes your fate will be decided. No, you have to have a very long-term approach for actually making a successful startup. Even then you may not succeed, that's a different question. But then if you do not hold a long-term approach, you will never succeed. Because and during this entire journey you will have to keep yourself motivated every single day. So that's the biggest challenge. Now, what's the second challenge? The second challenge is, let's say you are very passionate about something and you have chosen a product or a service, but then obviously invariably there will be other big players in the market. Invariably there will be. You may not be knowing some of them when you are entering the startup, but then once you enter you will find, oh God, they are very big. How do I compete with them? Because they'll have your competitors, they're established players, probably they will have the backing of big investors, from Japan, SoftBank, here, there, everywhere. You might not know everything, and they will have deep pockets. They have been in the business for, let's say, 3, 4, 5 years and so on, so they know the tricks of the trade. How do you compete with them? That will be your second challenge. Now we cannot divulge all the details, let's say, how to overcome those challenges, but obviously let's discuss the further challenges and then you will come to know what could be some of those things. The third one would be like 3 or 4 P's. One is obviously the product. The first P is the product you choose. See, Samrat was mentioning earlier that you are actually addressing a need or a problem in the entire value chain. You cannot address the entire value chain. You are only addressing a need or a problem in the entire value chain. So it's very, very important that you need to have a USP, unique selling point. Why would people come to you? There are so many other players in the market. Why would anybody come to you? So that USP in the product from day one, you will have to establish from day one. And that USP, going forward might change a bit. That's fine. But then you need to have a strong USP, a strong product and USP. So that's the first P as a challenge. And that's a challenge to do that. Second is price. The second P is price. What price are you actually selling? That's a very difficult thing to discover initially, because you will see your competitors are offering the same service or the same product maybe at a X price, let's say. But then can you also offer the same service or at that X price? No, you can't. What price are the people willing to pay you is what you need to discover. And that's another very big challenge for you initially. You cannot underprice it totally. Then people would think, or the customers would think, that you are very cheap and you may not be a very good product or a service. You're very cheap. You cannot overprice it, because then anyways people have so many other options, they'll go to them. Why would people choose a startup to come to? So very tricky situation, how to choose the price. The third P is, of course, place. And that could have been the second P actually, the place. Where you are actually, which market are you targeting initially? You cannot say, I am starting a pan-India startup. It won't happen. You can't do that. You don't have the bandwidth or the pockets to do that. So you have to select the geography. So that's where Samrat was mentioning different steps, that you need to have a mentor. You need to see your journey. That mentor will show you how your journey will pan out. And then you need to also do a lot of survey in that market, whether people are actually willing to pay for that product. See, one is whether there is a need for your service, whether people are willing to take that product or a service. And the second question is whether people are willing to pay for that product and service or not. Willing to take your product or service and willing to pay for the product and service. They are two very different questions. So you need to choose the place. So that's again another challenge. We faced this challenge when we actually started our venture in Kolkata. So that's the third P. And the fourth P, of course, would be promotion, or you call it marketing for that matter. Now, do you want to spend in marketing? Do you want to restrict your marketing spend? Because marketing spend is very, very expensive. Let us tell you. It's very expensive, marketing cost. So how are you going to do your marketing or a promotion of your business? Is it just social media? Social media where you are sending flyers and, in WhatsApp groups, you are doing something. No, you may not create that buzz if you do that, just sending messages. How many of you actually bother to actually check those messages, where when in social groups, discussions are going on, somebody posts some message that, this friend of mine has started this, you can avail his service. Probably they will get buried in those messages in the groups, in other messages, So only social media, free of cost marketing may not help. So you have to have a promotion or marketing strategy in place. So these are, we mentioned, first is of course staying motivated every day. The second is your competition, how to tackle that. There'll be big players in the market when you enter, how to cope with that. And there are these four P's you can call, that you need to address. These are challenges. And last but not the least, the cash flow part of it. How you are going to expand in terms of geographies. Let's say we started up in Kolkata and now we are seeing that, Kolkata market is not giving me that much, let's say cash flow. So let us venture into a new market. So if I venture into a new market, let's say Bihar, for example. So where from will how am I going to set it up? where from I'll get the marketing spend, where from will I generate all these funds, etc. So these are a few challenges that you need to face, you will face eventually. So funds flow when you want to expand, etc. So yeah, so I rushed a bit, but then hope I've been able to drive home the points. Yeah, Samrat, you want to add something?
Yeah, couple of points. Obviously, because we want to keep it within 1 hour, so we are probably trying to indicate some of the points, as many as we can, in terms of the guiding you. So, couple of points. One is continuing Mr. Debajyoti's point of about cost, fund, and everything. Always remember, many times we choose an idea which is not a regular, obvious need of the individual or regular need of the customer. Okay, so there is a difference between need and want. Anybody who is getting into marketing will know this. There are three kind of thing: need, want, and demand. If you are into want and demand, people will come and buy for it. Need, want, and demand, people will come and buy for it because they need those. But if your idea is a latent need, latent means which is a need but the customer does not know that there is a need for it, then your cost of acquisition goes even higher, because a lot of your money goes for the awareness that this is a need where you need to develop, or you need to spend money, or you need this product, and then you actually sell that product. So if your idea belongs to that that the customer wants, but it is not very obvious to him, you have to go and tell him or her that no, this is going to have this product with you or have this service with you, then he will come and spend on you. So if your idea belongs to that category, definitely this cost is much higher. Apart from that, 3-4 other point is in terms of challenges, I feel many a times the personal bias is very high, because either it will be you who will be starting the startup, or you're along with your partner, or a group of 3-4 people. So the personal biases will be very high. Somebody will feel this is correct, or you alone will feel this is correct. Okay, because till now it's not a system who is thinking about it, it's just an individual who is thinking about it. So always, ultimately the most intelligent piece in this entire system is market is the most intelligent piece. So it will decide whether people are ready to pay for your service and product or not, if it is okay, if it is not okay. So you have to agree to that. You cannot feel that whatever I have thought, that is the best. Okay, obviously you have to think differently and all that, but you have to listen to the market. So you have to keep your personal bias separate. And apart from that, one of the challenges, most of the startup, there is no benchmark that you can compare yourself with. If you're in a big company, for example, if you're in any big company, and if there is a low phase that is going in that company, okay, so, say there is a very bad monsoon and the products are not selling, the company knows, you can always look back and say, okay, 10 years back there was a similar crunch, similar period, how was the sale was this, okay, it's okay, later on it will improve. Okay, or there is economic downturn, okay, the sale is now down, but later on it will improve. But when you yourself are starting up, there is no such benchmark. You don't have anything to fall back and check whether you're in a right track or not on a right track. That is I'll say intuition, that is your hunch, that is your gut feeling. Now I should go ahead. Those will be many leap of faith that you have to take. Overall, the startup is a leap of faith, but then this journey there will be a lot of leap of faith. Go so they'll very very carefully, and believe me, that is the time when your mentor will help you the most. The mentor will come and tell you that this is okay, you stick to it, this will pass, or this is not okay, you close this plan, you do something else. I mean, tweak your plan. So those are the crunch situation, your crunch situation. So I'll repeat my points. Will be cost of acquisition will be high if you're working on a latent need. Check your personal biases. Always feel that the market is the most important thing, and you don't have any benchmark to follow. So if you can get a mentor, I think that's the best thing that you can have for your startup. Mentor is not a partner. Mentor is somebody who is into that field for a long time and who can guide you. Your mentor can be from a big organization. Okay, he or she need not be a startup guy. So he can be from a big organization. Basically, he or she should be a veteran who knows this field, who has seen the world, has played this game earlier. So I think these are a couple of challenges that we feel typically a new beginner will come across. Yeah, that's from my side. So I think we have spent some time on the steps. We have spent some time on the challenges, trying to keep it as simple as we can, and from our experiences. So any questions? Now we'll open the floor for the question. Any question you have?
Yeah, we have few questions from the audience. Okay, so the first question is that when did you first realize that you wanted to become an entrepreneur, and how did you start your startup actually?
Okay. I'll take that, Samrat. So yeah, initially, this thing, the instinct started when we were in B school, when we were in IIM Lucknow, probably actually, because in Lucknow also we used to have these events, and we were part of the entrepreneurship cell at IIM Lucknow. So after a few years, we started discussing that, yeah, this is a fantastic thing. Can we do something of our own? Because so we kept on discussing, and if you say when we took the plunge, so there was a time when we both thought that let's you see, we are aging, right? We will be on the wrong side of the age very soon. So this is probably a do or die situation for us. If we want to start, we have to take the plunge now. So this happened I would say 1.5 to 2 years back, when we both decided that maybe in the next 1 year or so we have to take a plunge and do something about it. Otherwise, age will not be on our side to pursue our dreams. So that's when we actually took the plunge. Does that answer the question?
Yes. So the next question is that how did you raise the funding for your startup, and what are the some tips for building a great team for the startup actually?
Yeah, so let me briefly answer, and Samrat can then take it forward. So yeah, friend, initially, see, we decided that we will not take funding from outside. So it was a bootstrap model, because we were very passionate about our product, and we said, if we get some investor from outside very early on, we will lose our independence. We will then we will fall into a trap wherein we will not be having that flexibility to develop it in certain way that we want to develop. Because in our case, content is the king. Content will drive our business. May not be today, maybe when people are aware of our content, then it will take off from there. So we have not gone for funding, but yes, as we plan to expand further, definitely we will have to look for investors as well. Yeah, Samrat.
Yeah. So no, I think funding part, yeah, that is what we felt about. And believe me, when just to give you an insight into funding, see, funding happens in the intent of funding is very different. I don't know it's a right forum to discuss that or not, because there are okay, let me put it in this way. When somebody is funding in your business, he or she can have two intent. One is he or she wants you to grow and achieve your dream and aspiration, and in that journey he and she wants to help you, and whatever reward you guys create, whatever result you guys create, obviously they will be a part of it as well. So that is one intent. The second intent could be it's only about making money. In that intent, your goal and aspiration may not have any place. It's all about funding. And how funding works, there is series of funding, there are rounds of funding. The investors comes in and goes out. Okay, and obviously the equity, the size of the equity increases during that game. So you never know that who is coming in for what. So the way an investor must know the player, the guys who are starting it, the same way you should know your investor. If you have the confidence on the investor that why he or she is actually investing in you, I think then you can go ahead. But if it's only about, increasing the bucket size and then taking the share, then you may get caught on a wrong foot, right? You may have your passion of starting a startup, the actual idea may take a backseat. It may only be about getting the market share and increasing the valuation game then you play. So it's a choice that you make. I don't say that this is correct or that is correct, but you should know your investor the same way the investor should know your intent. Similarly, you should know your investor and investor's intent. And about forming a team, I think form a team when you feel that first of all your pilot is working, your unit economics is working, and second, when you form a team, get the player first to see what is actually lacking. Don't just for the sake of it do it, that I am a modern day startup, so I must do automation, I must do AI. No, if your startup needs that, and if that adds value to your startup, you do that. And when you do that, get the whoever is the best guy to solve that particular problem at that time, you do that. You need not go by his name, degree, background, or anything. If you just need somebody to sell your product in a typical market, you get those salesperson for that market. You don't need a strategy guy. Okay, you feel you're not getting a strategy correct. We are, say for example, we started in Kolkata, but now suddenly we want to go to Chennai also, you want to go to Kerala also and Bombay also. Then I probably will get a guy who has exposure in that region in terms of building a business. Probably my recruit will be that. So as a founder, you should know what you need in your startups. I'll draw a very parallel example. At your home, when there is something wrong, आपके डाइनिंग टेबल का पहिया टूट गया है, the leg is not working, you call the small carpenter, correct? Because he can just put some keela and it will work. You don't go for a very big carpenter because you know your home, क्या करना है. Similarly, you should know your startup. It's not that every time you call the big guy. So know what is the problem, accordingly you get people.
And how do you manage stress as an entrepreneur?
That's actually a good question. But then stress is fun in this game. When you have to manage stress, so stress could be in two folds. One is things are not working absolutely, and you're feeling demotivated, right? So then you have to think positive. You have to forget about the past, what's happening. You just learn from your mistakes or past, what has gone wrong. But then you just plan for the future. You just devote yourself and plan for the future. What better can you make, in the next 5 or 6 months? And the second stress could be due to work pressure, let's say. But that's fun, once you have your company, your startup. So that's the beauty of the game, that we would like to have that stress. We would love to enjoy that stress. That, we have work for 24 hours, let's say. Samrat and I often discuss that, we have 48 hours a day. Do we have enough work for 48 hours a day? So that stress is actually fun to have when you are starting your own startup. Not as an employee, definitely. If you join a company, you won't think of working 24 hours a day for the company. But then if you are founding a startup, you are working for your own company, definitely you will have at least 24 hours a day.
I'll just add to it, if you have to work more, I don't believe that you will be stressed out of that. The stress comes from uncertainty, I will say. The stress largely comes from uncertainty. And the way we see it, if you keep your close ones, if you let them know about what you're doing and what kind of, time it may take, I think a lot of stress may be taken care. So always keep your family informed of what you're doing, and this is taking some time, lot of time, because we have friends, family, and our loved ones around us. So if you keep them informed that we are doing this and probably this will take some time, this next 1 year is uncertain, and then probably will fall back, I think a lot of things will be taken care by that. But if you don't open up with anyone, and then probably a lot of stress builds in because of the uncertainty. Because of the work, I don't think young generation like you who are just passing out will have any stress because of that.
Okay, so what are the most common mistakes that a new entrepreneur make, and what are the qualities of a good entrepreneur?
So let me first give you a couple of mistakes first, and then qualities. So definitely that's a very subjective thing, but mistakes. One Samrat was every now and then harping upon is your bias. When you launch a startup, you think that you have a very good idea, and this will work. This should definitely work because this is my idea. How come it will not work? That bias you have to get rid of. Because see, once you are into the market, then you will actually realize what's happening in the market. You will otherwise hear only stories about the market. So then if you have that bias, you will keep on making mistakes. So you get rid of the bias and then you tweak your ideas to a certain extent to actually suit the market. You are not going to beat the market. The market will beat you anyways. So you have to tweak it according to the market needs and demands. People, what customers want, accordingly you'll have to tweak it. So one is that. The second thing was the common mistakes is, you have to enter the market after doing proper survey. And that survey should not be a secondary research kind of a survey. Like you are doing some Google search and finding out what's happening. You have to be on the ground and doing the survey yourself. You have to talk to people, talk to your prospective customers. What if you are coming up with this product, will they be able to accept this product and pay for it at the same time? And the third one Samrat also mentioned was pilot. Always do a pilot project before actually launching it. In a small scale. Pilot should be in a very small scale, in a restricted area somewhere. So exactly what is the response of the customers, and then the feedback and the response, and then you tweak your product or service accordingly, and then go for the full launch. So I would say these three common mistakes.
Yeah, and regarding the qualities, I think there are a lot of qualities we cannot cover all, because every human being is different. One thing we feel is the longer you can play the game, the higher the chance of being successful. So it's a game of probability as well. Not every startup is a successful. Not everybody who starts for the first time is successful. But if you can play it for a longer time, the chances are that you will be successful. So it comes in two ways. If you're able to play it long, means you're doing it correct. First of all, that, because if you're not able to do it correct, you'll not be able to play it long. And when you are playing it long, it definitely means that there are chances of surviving and doing well is high. So I would say perseverance is definitely one quality you should have when you're building up a startup.
One is perseverance. The second, very quickly, would be trust. If you are a group of people creating a startup, magnanimous importance of magnanimous importance would be having trust in each other. If you do not have that, you won't be able to, forget succeeding, you won't be able to do anything. 4 or 6 months down the line, it will actually fall apart. So trust will be a very key feature in a startup. And of course, planning and all those things are there. Meticulous planning. You will need to have a plan. Things will keep on changing. Things will not be according to the plan, but still you need to have a plan. And then you need to see that what actually went wrong. How did you actually, digress from your plan? So was your plan correct, or what's happening is that correct? And then you actually replan it or re-engineer it accordingly. Yeah.
Yeah.
As we know that learning from others' experience is great while launching a startup, and we can learn from great entrepreneurs by reading books. So what are the books that you recommend for everyone to read?
I'll be very candid. I have not read any book for starting a startup. Let me be very candid.
Same here. I mean, books. You can learn a lot of things from books, but what the market will teach you is something very, very different. It's like the share market again. You will learn a lot of metrics and indices, etc., by reading books. But actually, when you actually start, you know, enter the market as a player, that's when, you know, real learning happens. So we wouldn't consciously recommend any book, but then if you want to have a good read, you know, Who Moved My Cheese would be a good option. You know, you can read that book. That would be an interesting one. But then for starting up on your own, we personally wouldn't recommend any book per se.
Rather, I would recommend that, listen to the story. As I told the second point, the journey of people who are in this field. Go and watch that. Now, watch that in a sense, you can just have a gossip, you can have a dialogue, you can have, if you have similar, if you are not having somebody of that sort, you read somebody or something on the internet. Having a view of the journey is very, very important. Okay, that you hear it out, watch, or talk to them. I think that is more important.
Yeah, learning from others' experience is great, but our journey will be different. So we will mostly learn from our real life experience only.
Absolutely. And you know, every startup will be different. Maybe they're operating in the same field, in the same area, but then something will be very, very different. Each startup will have something very, very different. So it's better to actually go with that, instead of, you know, restricting your thoughts and ideas by what has been written in a book by somebody who would have succeeded, who would not have succeeded. We do not know what actually he or she would have faced at that time. We do not know. So you can read a lot of books. Reading books is a very good practice, but then for startup per se, we wouldn't recommend any book per se. It's that you talk to people who have been there, you know, try to learn from their experiences, and go with the flow. Do a lot of market research and surveys.
And how do you plan for the future of your startup?
So our startup,
Yes.
particularly, okay. So our startup actually is in a transition phase right now. So we have been in the market for let's say almost 7-8 months now. We are very, very young. We would say we are infant right now. So we are taking care of the baby right now. So baby, infant, you know how a mother or parents take care of their baby infant. So a 6-month-old infant. So we are taking care of our baby. We haven't planned anything for the baby as yet. We are only feeding the baby, taking care of it, so the baby can stand strong on their legs and start, you know, crawling or maybe walking. So we are trying to reach that phase now. Obviously, our plan is to enter into new markets. So if you ask me immediate plan, so one is vertical expansion, and the other one would be horizontal. So vertically, we have expanded, we have entered into the school kids segment, but then horizontally we would love to expand to at least one new market and test our product.
Yeah, and at last, what advice would you give to a new entrepreneur who is just starting out?
Well, yeah. So see, so I think for the past 1 hour or so, we have been giving lecture and
Yes.
advices only. So if you have some takeaways, those are your points. But then to a new entrepreneur, wannabe entrepreneur, my advice personally would be stay motivated and wait for the right time. Go for the kill. Stay motivated, never get demotivated. Do your studies, do your research as much as you can. Tweak your plan accordingly. Keep the essence of your plan intact, and tweak your business plan accordingly. Keep on, doing iterations to your business plan. But stay motivated each day. Wait for the right time. In army we say, we will wait for the right time and our army will go for the kill. So wait for the right time and then go for the kill.
Okay, I'll just add to it. See, I feel, drawing an example. See, you might have heard that, if you do a lot of net practice in cricket, I take a lot of example from cricket because I think everybody follows that. If you do a lot of net practice in cricket, But then if you go on the ground and you play even 3 balls, 4 balls, or even 1 over, that gives you a lot of different experience, correct? When you're in the middle and you believe me, you played 6 balls, and then probably your confidence is a lot different than when you play you have done a 2-day net practice. So what I would recommend, adding to what Mr. Debajyoti has said, see, right now for you people, the age is absolutely on your side. Okay, you are very young. Okay, if anybody really feels he or she wants to start up and has an idea which at least qualify few of those, where passion, making money, all those things happens and all, I would say, if you get the right time in this, after you pass out, then somebody wants to go for a higher study, go for that. And if somebody wants to go for a job, you can go for a job. So during this phase of 2-3 years or 4 years, in the phase of next 3-4 years, if you strongly feel you have idea and you want to give it a try, please give it a try. Why I'm saying so? I don't know whether it will succeed or it will not succeed. All our best wishes are there with you to succeed. But believe me, even if you do not succeed, you get a match playing experience. Even after 10 years, probably, or whenever you get different kind of, you are a different kind of mental level. When you want to start again, you already have that experience of doing something on your own, and it will make a lot of difference. Okay, so at the beginning, if you get success, very good. Even if you don't get, believe me, you gain lot of experience which many people won't have. And believe me, even you will get that experience, that whether you really want to start up or you want to go for for a profession or a job. So there is nothing right and wrong. Let me very clear, it's not that startup is cool and job is not cool, or job is cool and vice versa. No, but at least you'll get that clarity in your head. Okay, you'll get that clarity in your head, that I want to do this. Okay, because there is a journey. How long, or whatever we can say on this session, but that whatever journey you get it, whatever experience you get from the journey, that is irreplaceable. So in the next 3-4 years, if you strongly feel something you want to do, give it a try. Obviously, don't give a very blunder try that you have very good other opportunity in hand and then also you're giving it a try. But if you feel you can try it out, give it a try, and then you'll be very clear as a person. Okay, because that I want to do this, and later on probably something I lack now, something I don't have a team, I don't have a funding, I don't have so and so, so that's why I failed now. But after 5-6 years, I again give it a try, and you won't make these mistakes. So, and that experience nobody can give you. No book, no session, nothing can give you. So if you're into that bracket, you can go for a try. And the generation you are in, what do you call that? Gen Z. Gen Z is anyways the tries a lot of things, lot of impatience is there. So you guys are, the technology is on your side, the age is on your side. I think your period has a lot more opportunity for a startup, as Mr. Debajyoti started saying that, right from government to society to technology, everything. I think it is a lot better than earlier times. I'm not saying that we are comparing two generation, but it is good, and you'll see a lot of people starting up. So don't get don't compare exactly with your earlier generation, that उन्होंने तो बहुत काम किया था, हम क्यों करें. No, your generation has a different ecosystem. If you have something in your mind, very confident, go for that.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, do any one of you have any questions to ask? Then you may ask right now.
Sir,
Yeah,
so while like we were decided that we want to open a startup, so should you should we go for an idea which is unique, or should we go for an idea which has actually worked in that field?
See, your idea may not be very unique, because let's say let's take our example. Ed tech, coaching, mentoring, these things existed. People were already offering, maybe in some form or the other. Your idea per se may not be very unique. What we were mentioning is, so your idea is actually falling under some value chain, right? It's actually a part of a value chain, or part of answering a need of the customers, right? So that you have to have one unique selling point. How is your idea solving a problem of the people, and how different you are from others that are offering the same service, let's say. So let's say a car mechanic, okay, simple car mechanic, car repairing garage, let's say. So car repairing garage, car mechanic is not a very unique idea. But then if you start a car repairing garage, let's say, then or a workshop, what unique thing that you are providing that will actually bring customers to you? It could be, pick up and drop from home, but then again people are offering that. What's that thing that actually you are addressing a need of the customers that will actually bring the customers to you? That you have to have in your idea. The main idea may not be unique.
So Shami, I think as Mr. Debajyoti said, that's about, you look for the value addition and are people ready to pay for it. So, okay, all those steps you have discussed, but I understand that dilemma. So, whatever idea you have eventually right now, or, whenever you finalize, the best thing is go for that pilot. So wherever you are, try it out at a very small scale, because you never, it is, you lose all the time to think, is it unique? Is it regular? Is it cool? We are a country of more than 1 billion. Rather, we are the most populous country in the world now. So whatever you have thought, believe me, you type it on internet, you'll see somebody is also already doing it. So 99% of your ideas will be somebody is already doing it in the country. So you need not get a very unique idea. Okay, obviously value addition, all this thing needs to be there. The best thing is you try at a very small scale. Obviously you cannot lose a lot of money out of because of that. So do it at a very small scale, and believe me, you'll get that hunch. Is it working, or is it working or not working? Believe me, selling momos, as he gave you an example, selling momos was never a cool thing. In Kolkata, you see it, all street vendors are doing it. But then same way somebody created a wow momo and people say, wow, people take lesson out of that, how to start a startup. So it's same momo, but they identified something, a clean, probably the cleanliness, the health, the hygiene, what they are selling, probably not the momo. So you also identify what is that. So selling momo is not a unique thing, but then, wow momo is a unique thing. So in the same way, you try it out, your idea at a very small scale. Nobody will see, I can tell that this is unique, this will work, this will not work. बहुत लोग कर रहे हैं, you may not get money. Best is do it. If you're in college, group of you people, do it somewhere outside the campus. If I will just share a small story. In our campus, we have small stores run by the students. We call it in campus, in I am Lucknow campus, we call it Just Tea, and there are some snacks counter and all that, and you'll see a lot of innovations there. Okay, college has permission there, so they can do it inside, but ultimately they're trying it out at a very small cost. Group of people, at least they get that idea or they get that experience. Okay, so do that. And one thing you should never do is don't take any idea because it is looking cool. सुनने में अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, I'm not taking that idea. सुनने में अच्छा लग रहा है, hence I should take that idea. Don't do that. Idea clicks later. Your idea should have passion and money making skill. These two things. दोनों में से कोई एक भी नहीं है, it is very difficult to sustain as a startup. Okay, I hope we have answered you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, any more questions from the audience? If anyone have any question, you may ask right now.
Good evening, sir. So my name is Rahul Mondal.
Yeah,
Sir, you said that we have kept our motivated in any such failures. So how to stay motivated, sir, in small failures, sir?
So how to stay motivated would be, management gurus lessons, but we can share our experience. How we stay motivated is, we meet, we discuss, and then we say, we plan for the future. Actually, that's how we stay motivated. We say, okay, this has gone wrong, this is not happening, okay, let's park it for a while, let's actually plan for the next 3 months what we are going to do to bridge the gap, or let's say to make the better of it, of our losses. So that's how we stay motivated. Planning
and
for the future.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead.
No, I'm saying that is definitely on you. Always take care of the big picture. You know that I am set out to do this. You may go to a place and for to crack a deal, and that deal you may lose that deal. You will feel demotivated for that evening. That's fine. That's being human. Nothing wrong into it. But then when you next day get up, or next day when you're in office, you should see, okay, this deal I lost. There is next 10 more discussions, proposals. Let's try to crack any whatever 5, 6, 1, 2, whatever out of them. So that's how you look at it. Now and then there will be something happening where you may feel demotivated. You are not a robot that will not feel demotivated. That's okay. And second thing, if you are in a partnership, I think the best thing is the partner should be able to judge the nerve, as we say, of the other person. So usually when one is more demotivated, the other will lift him up, saying that, okay, hota hai, let's do that. And then the other one is, and vice versa. So that is the biggest help in the partnership. If you're solo, I understand, you have to do it everything for yourself. So then you clearly look into the big picture. That okay, one day you'll feel happy also when you crack a deal. So you cannot remain like a very calm, sane head all the time. No, you are human. It will come and go, but you should not be demotivated for a long patch. You should look at the big picture always. So always make a plan. So see, many times what we do is, because as I told you, there is no benchmark. Achha, today this did not happen, let me change my course. No, you make a plan for 1 month and stick to that. Okay, if on day 10 or day 11 something has not happened, okay, day 12, day 13, day 14, these were the tasks, I'll do it. That's how you do. I get demotivated and don't do anything for 2-3 days. No, make a plan, stick to that plan. 1-2 दिन ऊपर नीचे होगा, that's okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
So any
any
more
other
questions?
question? I think there are no more questions.
Okay, so the meet has come to an end now. So we are honored to have both of you here with us today. Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable insights and experiences with us. We are grateful for the opportunity to learn from you and gain inspiration from your success stories. Thank you for giving us your time. On behalf of the Students Alumni Interaction Cell, we have a small token of appreciation for both of you, which I will present right now. First one is for Debajyoti, sir. So, yeah, is it visible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolute honor. Thanks a lot for this certificate of appreciation. Really means a lot. It's always a privilege, connecting with the alma mater, and you have recognized our achievements, our efforts, and you have considered us worthy to spend a Saturday evening with us. That means a lot for us. Thanks so much, everyone, and best wishes to all of you. And stay connected, and you will succeed. You will succeed because NIT Durgapur has actually produced a lot of stalwarts. We are just small pieces in the game. Actually, we have got a lot of stalwarts from NIT Durgapur. So all the best to all of you. Thank you so much.
We have also learned a lot from both of you.
Thank you.
Sir, actually, we are grateful to both of you for giving a time for us in spite of having a busy schedule. So it's honor for us that you have come to our cell and shared your valuable insights.
And this one is for Samrat, sir.
Thank you so much. And it's our privilege that for all of you to having us here. As I told you in the beginning, thank you so much, and reach out to us for any help you need in terms of Talentrooper, in terms of startup, or in terms of being a NIT fraternity, being in the same group of NIT Durgapur fraternity, right? So reach out for anything, and wish all of you all the best. and do the best that you have. I'm sure all of you will succeed. All the best to all of you.
Thanks a lot for having us, and all the best to all of you, and shine in life.
Okay, so we'll close it here.
Yes, sir. So we have learned a lot from both of you, and we hope for more learning opportunities from you in the future also.
Certainly. Learning is a continuous process. So keep learning, keep shining, and keep smiling. All the best.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
I would like to thank all of you for being here with us today and for making this session a success. We hope that you have found this session informative and inspiring. So this event has come to an end now. So have a great weekend.
Thanks, friends. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Chalo. Bye.
Bye, sir.